the house was made, it was real tall ceilings, about almost this tall. Had to have ladders to get up to see about the lights so bad. And the brick were a foot thick, made by slaves in that area then. Well, shipped in, of course. It was a pretty home. And they brought the mantles from England and one and from France. I think one was from France. And they were iron. And, well, I don't know another hat, but anyway, yeah, they were pretty. And in those days, the house, it was on the corner. Now that has been torn down, of course, came on down to my sister and me. And we were the only two left, and we just sold it, and geotide auctions people bought it and tore it down and built a parking lot there. But now there's another building on it. I can't remember the name of it, but I think...
Where is this located?
The corner of 5th Avenue and East 1st Street, right across from the Forest Hotel, on the corner.
Okay.
You know, what is that name? Anyway, they just recently built it. It's pretty. Now that's where the house stood. And the lot next to it was, my aunts lived there. There were two old maid aunts. Back then, during the war, 1865, along there, a lot of people did not marry because of the war. It upset a lot of people, and they were killed in the war and so forth. And, I had three old maid aunts and one bachelor uncle in the family, but many people didn't marry then because there was not opportunities for marriage and homes at that time. And anyway, at the home, and we owned on down to Broad Street, down that block. And the rose garden was down about where, I don't know what's there now, but off the corner of Broad Street and 5th Avenue down our land went on down there. And it was the kitchen was not in the house. Now, that's strange, but that's the way it was. I mean, everybody did it then. A big house with a lot of people, family. There was a runway, a little from our dining room down to another little house, which was a kitchen. So they cooked the meals and then brought it up the runway to the dining hall, dining room. Well, that's the way it was for a long time. I guess until maybe 1880 or somewhere along there, 90, before they changed things around. And now we got our land from the Indians. The government paid the Indians. I don't know exactly how that worked, but in the past, now I don't have those things now, before I lost them in the move. They were in a lot of photographs of Rome then, and the people, and all this was in a big box when I moved years ago. And by mistake, the garbage people were coming that morning, and they carried it out with a lot of other things, letters and things I was throwing away. And they got the garbage and was burned up. That day they burned things quickly then in Rome. And I lost all that. But I had these little things. I think we had about 7 of them. They were deeds, I guess you'd call them really deeds, to property, but they were no good because we were registered at the courthouse, and that's what we did later. But these were from the Indians, bought from the Indians with government. But they were interesting, and people paid to have one. It just a keepsake, because you couldn't use it. It was already, you had the property and that was it. So anyway, that's how, and so we had that, and into my grandmother deeded to the First Methodist Church, the property for it. Her name is on the plaque there. And that's on 3rd Avenue, First Methodist Church. And let's see, the First Methodist.
You owned a lot, y'all owned a lot of
Yeah,
downtown Rome, didn't you?
yeah, of some. A lot. There weren't too many people there, of course, then, and they owned too. But through the years, we lost it. My father was a doctor, Dr. J.S. Mitchell, and he drank. I mean, people did back then. A lot of people did. They drank in the home. They did, and he was careless with money, and that was when he was young. I mean, he lost things before he stopped drinking after he was practicing. But then, let's see, what else I want to tell you along here. What do you want to know about other things there? You have some more questions, honey?
What kind of chores did you have at home?
Oh, yeah. As a little girl now, we lived in an old home place until I married. I married when I was 24. And, I did little things at home, wash dishes and things, little things, but not a whole lot. But, as young girls, we had a big porch with wisteria, if you know what that is. It's a purple vine that looks like purple grapes hanging. It's pretty. And it would be up on the, real tall and hang over on the edges of the porch, in the porch. And we would sit on the porch, my sister and I, there were just two of us then, and embroider, sew little things. In the afternoons, our girlfriends would come over, 3 or 4 of them. We'd sit on my porch, or we'd go to their porch, another round room on East 3rd. I had friends all around everywhere. And we'd go and sit and do that, sit on the front porch. And, we'd go swimming at the swimming pool there, too, later. But, we didn't have swimsuits like you do today. I remember those. They were baggy things. Funny. But we put the water in them. That's the only way they let us go. But my parents were very strict. And, let's see. Then I worked at the National City Bank when I took business course after high school graduate. And I won a scholarship to Cox College in Atlanta, but I didn't take it for college because we were getting into the Depression then, 1839 war, but I graduated in 1834. I'm not 18, good night, 1934. 1934, and we were getting into 1939, the war. And so I didn't go to college. And I worked at the National City Bank till I married. And I have one son. He works for Delta Airlines in Atlanta. And I'm a great-grandmother. He has 4 children, and they have 4. But the 2 older sons are married with the rest of the children. So that's some of my history. And let's see, you have some more questions. I don't want to leave you out, honey.
What did you have for transportation?
Oh, we walked a lot. Till we didn't have many cars in Rome at that time when I was young. Around 18, 19, I keep saying 18, I'm sorry. 1935 and 6, along there, the Depression was, and the hobos would come by there. They'd get off the train at South Broad, at the little railroad station is down at the end of South Broad where the river is. It's gone now, of course, but they would get off the train there. They'd ride on the train, hitch rides. They got on the thing. They would show up all along, come down our street. They'd come up that way. It's funny. They would make a little mark out on the sidewalk because we'd find it. I was about, I don't know. I was about 13 or 14 then, probably. Anyway, the mark was that they could get a good meal there. they were just destitute people hunting jobs, going about from one town to another and across the states and everything, trying to find work then during the Depression. And we had tall steps coming up to our house. I guess there were about 20 steps, so getting up to the big top, the upstairs front porch. And we'd be sitting down on those steps toward the sidewalk down the bottom sometimes. We had little trees around there, and we had we'd just sit down there, and it was shady and nice. And the hobos, one or two would come by, usually one, and ask if we had any food we'd give them to ask our mother. So we'd run up the steps and, Mother, there's another hobo. He's hungry. And so she'd come to the door to come out, and they would sit on the steps. They never came in. They'd sit on the steps and wait, and Mother would, if we had eaten okay, if we hadn't, she'd give them our supper. I mean, she always fixed a nice plate. And in a little bit, another one would come, they'd see the mark. And so we fed them pretty well. And I remember that. And we walked everywhere because there were not many cars. And gas was, oh my, you couldn't get gas. Neither could you get shoes and things. We had cards given us, government, I forgot what they called them then, ration cards, yeah.
Just during the war, the ration
Depression.
card.
Yeah, but in the Depression, we had some cards. No, during the war we had two. Now, this is right on into when I was finished working at the bank. This was about 1941, 40 and 41, along there, 39 and 40. We had ration cards because of the war. And the man I married went overseas too. He was lineman for Georgia Power, and so he was in communications and overseas there. But we had those ration cards to buy shoes. I mean, you could just have one pair a year, whatever it was, and you couldn't buy it at the store unless you had that ration card, and they'd clip it out, And I had one stolen from me. I was out of shoes. I needed a pair, so I was going to get some shoes, and I laid it down at a grocery store because you ration on groceries too. And there's a lot of that, and it was hard, but we did it. And I laid it down, and when I went on downtown to get my shoes, it was that coupon was out, so I didn't get any shoes. But I mean, those things happen. That was just some of the things going on at that period, 1939, 40, 41. I married in 41, and he went overseas, and my son was born then in 1944. He got back, and we lived in Rome, and I've just lived here 8 years. I moved down 8 years ago.
How could you change Cave Spring or Rome if you could?
Well, I wouldn't. Well, I've changed crime in Rome. Naturally, all those things that are bad anywhere, all big cities have it. But it's so nice here, and everybody's so good, and I don't see anything to change here.
What was your most memorable moment?
Oh goodness, I don't know. When I got married, I guess. I don't know. Well, anyway.
Most people tell us they have lots of memorable moments.
Oh, yeah, I do. Yeah, all sorts. I mean, that's just,
Let me ask you something. You lived, my, let's see, grandmother was a mower, and they had a business on 7th Avenue. And my
yeah.
mother lived there too, Martha Moore, and I wonder that was close to, you
Oh,
were
yeah.
living close to where they did.
Yeah, I knew them.
Oh.
Matt, Jake, that
Yeah,
bunch.
yeah.
Okay, I just.
That was 7th Avenue,
On
around by
7th
the swimming
Avenue.
pool, around, and let me see, I had friends around there, and the Carsons. My sister married a Carson and moved away to California. She died 3 years ago. So I don't have anyone but my son now and his children. Yeah, that was, the Curb Market was around there too, near the swimming pool, 7th Avenue around,
Right.
and then around the bend, and of course it went on up the little hill there, close to the river. It was pretty around there. I was around there a lot because good friends of Kitty Carson, Catherine Carson, and her brother married my sister.
Miss Hutchins, describe your bathing suit for these fifth graders. They might be interested to know what it
The what?
looks like. The bathing suit you wore.
We, people sold a lot at home. They didn't go in the stores and buy very much. They really didn't. I made my own little dresses. My mother had a treadle machine. You did it with your feet, old-fashioned sewing machine way back. And I learned when I was 12 years old to sew on it. And I made my dresses, a lot of dresses. And now we bought at Eskimos, other things, good dresses and coats and such. But I mean, I've made little print dresses for myself, and we made our bathing suits. We did, we could. Of course, the stores did have some, and I had some more at the stores later, but this was when I was about 12 and 13, and we had a good friend at Radio Springs, if you know where Radio Springs is. Mm-hmm. It's out from on Horse Creek Road. Mm-hmm. It's changed a lot out there now, and the houses built and so forth. It's a good subdivision. But as young girls, we went out to visit Miss John Lawrence. She was an English woman, and Mr. Colson owned the Radio Springs, owned the springs, and he brought water in and sold it in Rome. Radio Springs water. People were drinking it like they get it from here to drink. Good water. And they had a swimming pool out there, and we'd go out there to swim, and that's where we wore those homemade bathing suits. I didn't want to wear them to the other pool, but we did buy them at the store too, but I've just thought about those funny things that we did wear sometimes. They were just down almost to your knees. They had to be there. Anyhow, I used to go out to Radio Springs horseback riding when I worked at the bank. Francis Garnett was at the bank. Well, several of them, all those girls in the bookkeeping department. So we'd go out there and ride horses at Mr. Colson's through all the countryside out to Horseman Creek Road. We didn't go up in traffic too much. We'd come up to the road. We'd country out there. We stayed on country roads mainly with horses. I had a horse run away with me one time. Oh, me, I remember that. He was a big old horse. Am I taking too much time just telling you all this stuff?
No.
Okay. Well, stop me because I can't see and I don't know what time it is. You just tell me when I've said enough.
All right.
Okay. Well, anyway, Francis and I went out to ride after work at the bank, and we got off early usually. And anyway, went out to ride the horse that afternoon. And there was a new horse there. I had a mare that I liked. I was going to have it saddle for me. But this was a big old horse. He was, I forgot how many hands high, but I couldn't hardly get up on him in the stirrup. I thought it was as bad as a van to get her. And, the other horses were out or something. Anyway, Mr. Golson had him saddled. He said, well, I don't know if you want to ride it or not. He's got he takes off sometimes. You have to really hold him in the rein. And I said, oh, I can. I thought I could. I said, oh, that's all right. I petted him, and, but I didn't like him. And I don't think he liked me either. And I rode him. But down the road, we hadn't gone too far. Somebody came down the road in a car, and they blew the horn way in the back of us, like they were going to pass us. And it scared him. And I didn't know they were back there, and I was going to blow the horn because we didn't have a mirror on the horse. So, toot toot, boy, he shot out like that, and I wasn't expecting it. And I lost the reins. They fell off and went down there somewhere. All I could do was hold on to his mane. That's that hair going down the neck, you know. Oh, brother, I held on to that. I guess he didn't like it. And I kept hollering, whoa! He didn't care. He galloped and galloped till he was ready to stop. Then he finally stopped and suddenly stopped and looked around. I don't know where Frances was. She said she didn't know where I'd gone to either. But anyway, I was all out of breath. I was afraid I was going off there any time. Cause I tell you, that's something else. Then I carried him back. But then I turned around and said, we're going to the barn. I said, Mr. Colson, I don't want to ride him. And he ran away with me. Well, that's all I know about that. Got some more questions?
Do y'all have any questions?
Yeah, anything?
Ross?
Did you go to school?
Oh, yeah.
Did you have
Yeah.
to walk?
What now?
Did you have to walk?
Oh, yeah. Well, Neely School is by the city clock. By the way, the city clock was built, you know where the city clock is? Everybody's seen that. But no, my dad was born in 1873. That's the year that the city clock was built by, I've forgotten the name, Nolan or something like that, from England. The people that built the clock came over and built that in 1873. And Neely School, that was Neely, at the clock, that's been torn down. It's just a park up there now. But I went to Neely, and let me see what grades. Central Primary was the first one. I mean, lower there, down the hill from that. I think it was 5th grade at Neely, 5th or 6th. And we only had 11 grades. You have 12 now. So when you finished 11th grade, you graduated from Rome High. Then I went to Neely for those years, and then went to high school, the other 4, I guess it was 3 or 4, whatever, and graduated in 1934. And I walked. Oh, and I came home from high school to lunch and back. We had a nice lunch hour. We did. And the kids, those that lived within a certain radius, they allowed you. So I was allowed to come home for lunch. And I did most days, a lot of times, but if it was rainy, I didn't, or a bit of cold, I didn't, or whatever, you know, I just carried a lunch. But I could run home and Mother would have everything ready, and I'd just dash up those steps and have lunch and run back. Frankly, I walked fast. But otherwise, we were up on that hill, you know, Rome High. That's just torn down now, those houses up there. That was at 3rd Avenue and East 3rd Street. I'm right up there on that corner. On Rome High. Any more questions?
We need to get Miss Hutchins back.
Thank
Yeah,
you very
okay.
much.
I've enjoyed it so much, I hope I didn't bore you.
Oh, not at all. We can listen to you all day.
Well, I was just off the top of my head, whatever I thought of.
Right.
You're welcome.